This video in the While We Speak video series is going to look at the United States and the population of the United States going well into the future, because amazing things are happening in the United States at the moment to do with population and demographics. So this is Google Earth, and we're just going to flip the world around to get a better view of the US. And there's a couple of amazing things straight off about the demographic projections. The first thing is that some people are saying that the US could grow from what is currently, I mean, they don't know the exact population because the census has yet to get its results, but it's roughly about 310 million at the moment. And people are saying that can grow all the way to 400 million by 2050, or even 500 million by 2050. And there's two amazing things about that to me. One is that it could grow that much, that quickly. And two, the great divergence in the estimates. I mean, the UN says 400 million, the Census Bureau says 440 million, but under their higher estimates, it could be as much as 500 million. So it's incredible that it's an unfolding drama as to what the population of the US is going to be in just 40 years. And a lot of that uncertainty is due to immigration. Now, I'll just zoom in here a bit. Another fascinating thing for me, in fact, probably the most fascinating thing, was that during the times of the Founding Fathers in 1776, the entire population of the United States, at least the colonial United States, I don't know if they were counting the Native Americans, probably not, but the entire population of the colonial United States was 2.5 million. That's covering all of America, essentially, the areas that were colonized. 2.5 million. Now, if projections are even averagely right, say the United States is growing to 440 million, that means that every single year from now, 2010, all the way until 2050, every year the United States is going to be adding approximately 2.5 million. Now the maths works out at that because you're adding, say, about 140 million-ish, and then divide by roughly 40 years. Now, so you're adding the entire population of the United States circa 1776 every single year. And that just goes to show that the incredibly fast-paced change that's going on in the United States, and just how mind-boggling that would have been to the people like the Founding Fathers. Now, a third really interesting thing to me that's going on in the United States, and it's going on around the world, but it's a health boom. And it's not just a minor health boom here and there, just tweaks on the edges. It's almost an entire changing. You could almost say it's a changing of the human species that's going on around the world, and particularly in places like the United States. And that's, I mean, the current life expectancy of someone in the United States is around 78. Now that's expected to grow to the mid-80s by 2050. And the projection for beyond that is to peak out around the early 90s. So you've gone from today being expected to live until around 78, and to the future, the babies born in 2050, to being living around 90 even. Now that may seem like a big jump until you see what went before, and to show you kind of the pattern over a century, I'm going to use the really great resource on the internet. It really helps illustrate so many different trends, and you can play about with it yourself and really find out a lot about the world just by clicking a few buttons and changing a few parameters. And that is Gapminder. Gapminder is run by a guy called Hans Rosling, and as you can see, it kind of accumulates all manner of countries and the data going back a long time, and then presents it in this quite easily accessible format. So here we have the United States circa 1880, and the first amazing thing to see is that life expectancy, if you look to the y-axis, is 40 years. That is an entirely different human species, almost 40 years, and now it's 80 years. I mean, can you imagine the differences in culture, in economics, in politics, that would mean for having to being expected to live to around 40? How that would change everything. So if we now see the drama unfold so far, it's almost like one of those soap operas where you see, this is a flashback to the previous episodes, but this is what's gone on pretty much the 20th century. And you can see just a huge upsurge in life expectancy, and also people getting richer and richer, going from approximately 3,000 GDP per year per person, all the way until now around 40,000. So we've got incredibly richer as well. So now you can see we're at 80, and the progress is getting a little slower. Other things are beginning to affect it, like obesity levels, and that's one of the big enigmas going forward. How much will our health change due to things like diet and exercise to moderate that increase? So that's one of the big issues at the moment. But you can see how there's been this incredible change over such a short period of time. Now, another thing that's going to change about America in a big way to do with demographics is the population makeup, as in the age groupings of the population. And this is just the Wikipedia page for the US demographics, and you've got loads of interesting things here. First, you've got the median age. That's just if you picked at random someone from the population, how old would they be? And at the moment it's about 37. And then you've got immigration rates, sex ratios. At birth there's more men than women, but by the time you get to 65 and over, you can see here that there's 3 males for every 4 females. Now, but the most interesting thing about this page is if you see this population pyramid, this is the United States, and it's moving along here. This is the United States in 1960. You can see lots of young people aged 5, between 5, 10, 15, 20. And this is what you may have heard many, many times. This is the baby boom. You see this? There's like a bulge here, where there's fewer people aged between 5 and 10 now, but much more between 15, 20, 25, 30. And you can see that baby boom generation is gradually getting older and older. And you can see other things developing, like you're getting gradually more people aged over 80. But as we get nearer and nearer to present day, this is the year 2000 now, that baby boom generation is getting nearer to 50, and now by 2010 the baby boom's kind of around 55. So that is where this whole worry about the baby boom generation retiring and how that's going to come fairly soon, because as they reach 65 and 70, and it's going to take a period of 10 to 20 years for the whole group of baby boomers to retire, but as that group reaches 65 and 70, they'll retire, and that will change the entire economic makeup of the country. And just to demonstrate that point, I turn finally to the Pew Research Center, who have looked at all these different trends, and one of the things they pick up on is what's called the dependency ratio, and that is just the ratio of children and the elderly to the working age population. Now obviously, as the baby boom generation retires, the ranks of what is officially called the elderly will grow, and that will mean there'll be more children and elderly as a proportion compared to the working age population than there was before. And that will have an effect, as it says here, in terms of higher cost per worker, for schools, social security, etc. So in 2005 it's 59 elderly people and children, and that's going to grow to approximately 72. So that is going to change the economics and the politics of the entire United States, and politicians are going to have to grapple with how to actually cope with that change in dependency ratio. So all of these things are simultaneously changing the entire face of the United States, and it's just incredibly exciting to watch the drama unfold.